Alright, we got news coming up here in just 1 second, guys. Greetings, Ramstein. They're doing a sound clip right now. The Hornswoggle top 10 moments that WWE put together about a year ago. And now he's in trouble, if you haven't heard. Hornswoggle violated the wellness policy for the first time, so he's got a 30-day penalty. No confirmation yet as to what sort of wellness policy breaking it was, whether recreational drugs, prescription drugs, or performance-enhancing drugs. Given that he has recently had a shoulder surgery, I'm going to bet it's painkillers. So we'll wait. They're going over right now the clip where he was the official DX mascot. That was awesome. Ciao, Luxon. Hey, Carla. I don't need a job, man. This is my job. I got about a minute left of this clip, man. This is a longer clip than I thought. But we'll also go over Raw. If anyone has any thoughts on Raw, go ahead and spout that out. Morning, Jay Winters. I think that was the last clip. They just revealed Hornswoggle was Vince McMahon's. Then the podcast theme song's going to play real quick, and then we'll actually anything specific you guys want to hear about as we talk today, Periscope. Morning, YouTube also. But by the time you hear this, YouTube, it's probably not. We got Hell in the Cell 2011, I believe, or 2010. 2011, I think, playing in the background here. If you hear any of that. Yeah, 2011. Alright. Just about to go live, finally. Welcome to Marking Out in the Morning, coming to you live from Audacity Solution Studios in Des Moines, Iowa. This is the first and only live daily morning call-in pro wrestling news and rumors podcast. We're the only ones making that claim, which makes us the first and only. If it is approximately 9:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, or the variation based on your time zone, then that means you're either watching on Periscope or listening on Blog Talk Radio, because you know we do that live every morning, Monday through Friday, so that when you see your other wrestling nerd friends, you know you're up to date on everything as of 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So yeah, if you need to know how to listen live, if you're listening to this later and would like to catch us live on Periscope or Blog Talk Radio, you just follow us on Twitter, and those links get sent out every morning. Then you could subscribe to Periscope or Blog Talk Radio, so you no longer have to follow us on Twitter. But it's at HEELZiggler.com on Twitter and on Periscope. And during the show, both of those are being used and monitored by me at all times, so you can always interject if you're listening live by either of those means, or if you really just want to call and talk, I'm okay with that. I'll talk to you about probably whatever you want, and it's not sophisticated enough of a system for me to really scan you, so you could really say literally anything you want, and it would go out live to the internet, if that matters at all. So yeah, we're going to take a look at, do a real quick Raw recap for anybody who hasn't seen it but wants to know what's going on before we hit the news. After we finish that, we will probably be joined by Kazz from the Post-Match Podcast, our regular Tuesday morning guest. I also invited Hallmark of Sweden. We'll see if Hallmark shows up also. You never really know. That's live wrestling radio. Anything can happen. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We will also discuss Hornswoggle. He had some bad news handed to him yesterday, and then we will speculate about what it is, since there is no confirmation at this time of what exactly he did. We will speculate, because that's all we can do. But we will, because that's what happens when wrestling radio, because there's usually not a lot of time to take up unless something major happens, like Hornswoggle. The most lovable character, perhaps, on the roster, outside of, I don't know, Bailey. I don't get it, but whatever, people love Bailey. He's been gone for 30 days, not like he was on TV anyway. We'll talk about that a little bit, not much more. I basically already told you the whole story. Bobby Lashley going to MMA, as well as Tanner from Tough Enough in MMA. We'll just hit some rumors. A couple of TNA updates, if you care, about Bound for Glory will come towards the end. And some people getting in trouble for Wrestlers Court. If you saw the Edge and Christian interview on the Stone Cold podcast, you know what Wrestlers Court is. If you didn't watch that podcast, you're going to have to wait till the end. That's going to be the last story we talk about. Unless breaking news happens between now and then, maybe something else will happen. So, with all that out of the way, welcome to Marking Out in the Morning. I am the Audacity. Let's go ahead and take care of the Raw recap. There's a sound clip playing right now that you can't hear. Alright, so last night on Monday Night Raw, the show opened with John Cena coming to the show to announce he would reinstate the United States Open Challenge that he had from his prior reign as U.S. Champion. And whose music do we hear but John Cena's own music, played by Xavier Woods on trombone. The New Day came out in what I believed was a hilarious opener. And then Xavier Woods fought one-on-one for the U.S. title. The rest of the New Day were kicked out of the match. It was a pretty decent match. They made Xavier Woods look better than he probably has ever looked, considering he was going up against John Cena on Monday Night Raw in what could very possibly have been the highest rated segment of the night. And he did not tap out as Big E and Kofi Kingston came. The match was called, then the Dudley Boys came out, and of course, since there are 6 guys out there, we have a 6-man tag in which the New Day get the win, and they walk away looking strong at the end of Monday Night Raw. And we don't hear much from the Dudleys or Cena again for the rest of the night. So no real indication right now as to what direction John Cena will be going at Hell in a Cell. I assume he will be defending the title. Maybe he'll do an open challenge at the pay-per-view. Maybe that'll be his gimmick, because I do like his open challenge matches. Again, this was probably the biggest chance Xavier Woods has had to perform, given that it was the opening match against John Cena. And he looked good, and yeah, whatever. You can't expect him to get much in against John Cena, but it looked good, and they were entertaining. That's their major quality. That's why they're the champions right now. Anyway, spent way too much time talking about the opening match. We're going to go burn through the rest of them. The Big Show defeated Mark Henry, and then confronted Paul Heyman later in the show. Team Bella defeated PCB when Paige obviously abandoned Charlotte and Becky. Braun Strowman and Luke Harper defeated the Primetime Players. Neville defeated Stardust by disqualification. Randy Orton defeated Bo Dallas. Kane's recent performance evaluation ended well for him, as the PR lady said he was great. Seth Rollins was the worst. Seth Rollins beat him up. He came back as Demon Kane and chased away Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens and Rusev, their match ended in a no contest when they both started beating up Ryback, who was saved by Dolph Ziggler. And the show ended with Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt wrestling to a double countout when they eventually threw themselves through the announce table, and the show went off the air with both men lying relatively unmoving and breathing heavy on the broken announce table. So that was Raw last night. I watched it this morning, and honestly I wasn't giving it my full attention. Usually when I watch Raw, I like to watch it live-ish. At least start it before it ends, and TiVo through a lot of it. And I usually like to give it my undivided attention. I like to have a nice dinner with it. I didn't get to do that last night. I watched maybe the first 15 or 20 minutes last night, and I got out this morning and watched the rest of it. But some of it I was doing, other work. So, but it seemed like a decent show, and you know, whatever. That's yeah, all I can really say about Raw. If anyone has any opinions, you let me know. Twitter at HEELZiggler_com, Periscope at HEELZiggler_com, phone number 6573831. You can even email us, HEELZiggler@gmail.com, HEELZiggler.com, spelled out at gmail.com. Anyway, let's go on to the news. As we discussed, the opener Hornswoggle has been suspended for violating the wellness policy. He will be out 30 days. There's no real word on what he has been suspended for exactly. Given that, I mean, your initial thought may be like, oh well, Hornswoggle seems like a fun guy. Maybe he smoked a doobie. Maybe he had some X. Maybe he's a heroin addict. You know, whatever. But he did recently have a surgery, and a lot of people, even if you're not traveling all the time or ever involved in any kind of physical action, which Hornswoggle was about a month ago, maybe a little more than that. Especially I read about he was doing some dark matches, but I don't know what he's been doing since then. If he's been appearing places, doing anything, I assume he's under contract, so still getting paid. But one would think that maybe it's more likely he was using painkillers after his prescription ended. I feel like that would be a common problem. So there's no information yet. It's kind of a bummer, but he wasn't really on TV recently anyway. I don't know what kind of, you know, appearances he was doing or whatever. But he'll be gone for 30 days. I doubt they will even acknowledge it since he wasn't on TV. He'll make a comeback sometime, you know. Maybe they'll... I don't know what event they would save him for. So, whatever. So, see you later, Hornswoggle. The next story, again, these are a lot of just rumors today. I was reading this at CagesideSeats.com. But it sounds like they had already confirmed that Dustin Runnels, not Goldust, Dustin Runnels will be there to present the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Classic Tournament NXT. That he will be the one to present the winners with their trophy or cup or whatever it is. And that he may potentially, I don't know if this is off camera as well as on camera, but step in and fill in where Dusty Rhodes was for NXT. So that could be interesting if he does do that, especially on camera. It would give them a new character to work with, and whatever. Obviously, Dustin Runnels has a great screen presence, and WWE is not shy about using deceased wrestlers' family members on camera very soon after they die, aka Vicky Guerrero, you know, and some others. I'm sure that I'm just getting it right now. Anyway, so there's that. Yeah, so hopefully that is true. Goldust hasn't really been doing much on TV lately. I assume most of his work is just jobbing. I watch Main Event and Superstars, and I don't remember seeing Goldust anytime recently on any of those shows. So maybe he's been hanging out with Hornswoggle. I don't know. But that's kind of the most of that. We do have some attendance numbers for NXT and WWE live events. However, I just lost that page I was using for that. Give me one last second to double check. Live camera people. YouTube, you won't hear this, so it doesn't matter. This one's on TV over there. Alright, so like I was saying, we're going to take a look real quick at the recent attendance figures that came in from WWE events versus NXT events. Down in Texas, as they went through their tour for NXT. In Houston, they got 1,600 fans. In Austin, they got 750. I'm going to check real quick what day of the week those were. So that was like Thursday they got 1,600 in Houston. On a Friday they got 750 people in Austin. On that Saturday in San Antonio they had 750. And that same day, that's WWE. Yeah. So then some of the regular main event or main roster ones. In Montreal, Kevin's homecoming show that did not have John Cena drew 6,000 fans. The only one that beat that was the live Raw in Laredo, Texas, which drew 6,100. So Kevin Owens' homecoming show, even without John Cena, outdrew every NXT show of the last few days. It outdrew the biggest Roman Reigns tour of 4,000 in Waco. It outdrew the John Cena tour in Beaumont. And it outdrew the SmackDown taping in Corpus Christi. So good for Kevin Owens. Good for NXT. They had good numbers too, especially compared to the biggest wrestling company's tour. Those are really good numbers for NXT. Next on the agenda, as we finish up WWE, this one is loosely related. Tough Enough competitor Tanner just was online basically saying that although he is focusing full-time on his MMA career, he's not giving up the wrestling, his wrestling aspirations. He said he talked to some WWE Hall of Famers and some veterans who told him that he should pursue MMA full-time since that's what he's good at now, and then but try to learn more about wrestling as he does that so that he can make the transition later when he's ready. And it sounds like that's his plan. So if he doesn't succeed in a big way in MMA, there's a good chance we'll see him attempt to come back in wrestling down the road. And he seems like the kind of guy that Triple H would give a chance to, and who would do pretty well at a workout, I think. So yeah, Tanner from Tough Enough, full-time MMA guy now. So look for him to come back a few years down the road, unless he's really super successful as an MMA wrestler. And speaking of MMA, Bobby Lashley has his next opponent set for MMA. He has a match on November 6th, a Bellator MMA match against James Thompson, which is a rematch. And Thompson had been taunting Lashley partially about being a fake wrestler. So that's that. And actually, just while I'm thinking about it, because I see it on the same screen I'm looking at, if you did not watch the NXT Network, the WWE Network NXT panel show last night, I do recommend. I watched it right before I went on live here. They spend a lot of time talking about Dusty Rhodes, but it's all pretty good stuff. You got Sasha Banks, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Triple H, Corey Graves, Byron Scott, and Finn Balor. So it's a pretty sweet lineup, and they're all pretty straightforward with all their answers, it seems like. So yeah, I'm jealous of the people who got to be there live. That would have been really sweet. And I didn't have that in my lineup. So let's see. Next thing we're going to talk about, Bobby Lashley. Again, he has the MMA match scheduled, but he is a TNA guy. And just recently, a new gauntlet match was added to the TNA Bound for Glory show, which is this Sunday. Which means there's one more Impact Wrestling before their biggest show of the year, I believe is what that would amount to. But the final card looks like this. The new match It's a Bound for Gold gauntlet match, which gives them a title shot down the road. It's going to be Mr. Anderson, Biss, Mihabli Shera, Tyrus, Robbie E., Jesse Goddard, Aiden O'Shea, Eli Drake, and Chris Melendez. So that's, again, for a future title match. Kurt Angle is fighting someone to be announced. I don't know the story there. Again, I don't really follow TNA. I just sometimes announce the results here. In case anyone wants to know. TNA Tag Team title match. Brian Myers and Trevor Lee will, I assume, defend against the Wolves. The Ultimate X for the TNA X Division title. Tigre Uno, I guess, must be defending against 3 guys yet to be named. I guess this will be announced on Impact Wrestling this week. TNA Knockouts title match. Awesome Kong, who I assume is the champion, defends against Gail Kim. TNA King of the Mountain title match. I assume Bobby Lashley is the champion. Either that I'm getting all these backwards, or else what I'm looking at just has no rhyme or reason. Bobby Lashley, I assume, is defending against Bobby Roode in a King of the Mountain title match, and Drew Galloway. Oh no, I have been doing them all backwards, I bet. Yeah, obviously I have. So, Tigre Uno's the champion, the Wolves must be the champions. Gail Kim defending against Awesome Kong, Bobby Roode defending against Bobby Lashley, and EC3 Ethan Carter III defends against Drew Galloway in the TNA World Heavyweight title match. So that's the whole card. Sorry I screwed up part of it. My apologies, but I corrected myself. Unlike a lot of American media, I admitted I was wrong immediately and corrected it. And getting it wrong was not to my advantage anyway, so I'm just saying Fox News, that's how it works, you know. Let me see what else is up. The only other story left, really, this is going to be a short day again. The only story left is the Pope from TNA announced that there will be... no, I take that back. There's one story after this. But the Pope, Elijah Burke, announced on Twitter there's going to be a new commentary partner with him and Josh Matthews. And it sounds like Dixie Carter hinted at something that could be that as well. So that is the final update for TNA. And one last story. Apparently, at one of the recent tapings, ROH CEO got mad at some of the I have to edit this part out later. Sorry guys. There's something else going on around me. At the recent ROH television tapings, the ROH CEO got word that a wrestler's court was being held. Wrestler's court is just when someone kind of does something that violates, you know, whatever kind of unwritten rules there are. There's an impartial judge, a defense, a defendant, and I think that's it. Anyway, whatever. And the CEO just got on to them because he said they should be focusing on the card that night, and maybe he's right. But anyway, I think now that Edge and Christian gave a thorough example of Wrestler's Court on the Stone Cold podcast, we're going to hear more about that. Yay. That is my last actual story. We're going to take a look real quick at the Total Divas E-Network preview. So I'm going to play that for you real quick, and then we will be... Just want to make sure I had it. We'll be right back. Oh, hey, yeah. Sorry, I didn't really forget about you, YouTube. Later!